Well, following the MP's expenses scandal in the 2000s, especially late 2000s, IPSA, an independent body in charge of MP salaries and expenses, was established to create transparency and make things more accountable to the general public and the taxpayers. Well, unfortunately, we have some bad news for you guys. Over the last couple of weeks, there have some people who've taken advantage of what happened to Sir David Amess, and in the name of security, they are now going to introduce censorship and lack of transparency when it comes to the expenses. Now, right now, a member of public, a taxpayer, you can go on the website, check what your member of parliament is spending money on, even taxi fares or in the things that they buy for their offices, because we have to make sure we hold them to account. It's transparent. Now, in the name of security, they say that, for example, certain sensitive information, for example, when it comes to MPs' surgeries or some sort of event, where, when, how, they said we're going to hide those things, but they did not stop there. They are now going to do some redactions. That means some of the expenses, the details, even that has nothing to do with security, they will now be hidden from the general public. Well done, parliamentary authorities and IPSA, so-called independent body. Not really sure how this influence came up, but it's not really good for democracy. It's not really good. It's a good look for Parliament as a culture, considering the last few years we've had issues with the House of Commons in terms of transparency, in terms of actually respecting democracy and the taxpayers and the voters who elect them and pay their salaries. This is not going too well. Problem here is that some people are also hypocrites on a number of different levels. So we had Matt Hancock, for example, complaining to IPSO, who's also in charge of transparency when it comes to information, communication, media, press, stories that obviously are published about MPs. He's complaining, saying that we need to also censor stories about him, especially his affair. Also, a few days ago, he was on holiday in Croatia. A member of public took a photo, a video, posted on Twitter. He's trying to essentially censor those sort of things because it says it's not really in the interest of the general public. This is the same Matt Hancock, who, when he was part of he was Secretary of State for Digital and Media Culture Department, the DCMS, he said in the House of Commons that it is about the response to the Leveson inquiry, the phone hacking, freedom of press. He said, over many centuries in Britain, our press has held the powerful to account and been free to report and investigate without fear or favor. These principles underpin our democracy and are integral to our freedom as a nation. Well, what's changed, Matt? When it comes to you, maybe we should, not really publish things. Again, I fully understand. I'm not really advocating for MPs or politicians or celebrities' private life to be completely public. No. That's different. But when it affects your job and the interests of the general public, why do you want to redact those things? It's just a hypocrisy. But my biggest problem is still with these guys. What are they doing exactly? Is this really to make things secure and safer for parliamentarians? No. This is going to make things less transparent, and it's bad for democracy, and it's bad for the current climate that we have politically and culturally. There's a massive issue with the establishment. The anti-establishment wave is continuing. If you want to get our support, the general public, you need to be more transparent, not less. And that's why we obviously started this channel a few years ago. It was about creating that transparency and hold them to account during the Brexit negotiations when Parliament was going crazy. And since then, especially since the lockdown days, we've continued, despite having issues on these platforms, despite having issues trying to get cancelled, we continue. We still have also our podcast channel, myitc.co.uk. If you want to support the channel, feel free to join. I don't really want to keep plugging it because some people get angry and say, "Oh, how dare you, myitc, that you say all these things that we need to hear, but you create a business and you have staff and teams to obviously pay the salaries. Well, how else do I live? Like, if that's my job, then of course we have to find a way to continue. If this platform is not helping us, we have our own independent platform. So I just want to obviously let you guys know about IPSA. That's the main issue, the concern that I have. But feel free to write to your MPs and make sure that they're not really supporting this weird reform. I'm ITC, and we are the media.